Our world seems to be spinning out of control. We live supersized, fast-paced lives while we spend more than we earn. USA Today has published that obesity has been classified as a worldwide health disaster. The rate of obesity in North America is a staggering 65%. Is it possible to take control of our lives and reset our future? Don't you ever wish your body had a reset button? With USANA's 5-day high-fiber cleanse, you can make a clean break.
Now's the time for you to say, I'm taking control of my life today. Now you got the vision, you got the plan, and you got the knowledge that you can. So what you'll get is what you said. So reset your life.
Designed the Reset program to help you kick your carbohydrate cravings, reset your metabolism, and start down the path toward a new and healthier you.
More than 2/3 of adults and 1/3 of children in the United States and Canada are now considered to be either overweight or obese. 1/3 of the adult population is presently on a diet, and another third is trying to maintain their weight. In the U.S. alone, we are now spending more than $30 billion each and every year on diets. Unfortunately, many of these diets simply do not work. Medical studies show us that nearly everyone who loses weight on a diet will gain all that weight back and more in just a couple of years. No wonder people are so discouraged. Still, the question remains, why don't diets work? The first answer is simple. Because diets are a short-term solution for a long-term problem. Another reason diets don't work is because they are not balanced. First, we thought the problem was too much fat in our diet. Then we felt the problem was too many carbohydrates in our diet. However, in order to maintain optimal health, you need to be consuming a balance of good carbohydrates, good fats, and good proteins. But the most critical reason that diets do not work is because they fail to address a possible underlying cause of many obesity cases today, which is insulin insensitivity. When you are not as sensitive to your own insulin, your body not only begins storing additional fat, but it also literally holds on to that fat like a sponge holds on to water. In 1981, Dr. David Jenkins introduced a new concept for how quickly our bodies are able to absorb long chains of sugar which make up carbohydrates. He had his patients eat a particular carbohydrate like bananas or apples or bread or potatoes or green beans, and then measured how quickly these foods caused their blood sugars to rise. He then compared this rise in blood sugar to a controlled carbohydrate, which in most cases was glucose. Using this comparison, he was able to calculate a number that he labeled the glycemic index. Dr. Jenkins shocked many by finding that certain complex carbohydrates found in our breads, flour, rice, cereals, and potatoes actually spiked people's blood sugar faster than if we were spooning table sugar onto their tongue. High glycemic foods literally spike your blood sugar and stimulate the release of insulin, which is your storage hormone. The body needs to control blood sugar in a very narrow range, and insulin drives the sugar into the cell to either be utilized or stored as glycogen or fat. Insulin also blocks the release of fat. So what exactly happens when you spike your blood sugar? When blood sugar rapidly rises, it causes a tremendous release of free radicals, which in turn leads to significant inflammation of the arteries, especially the fine arteries of the muscle called capillaries. This is known as glycemic stress. When you stimulate the release of insulin, your blood sugar drops about as fast as it went up. In fact, in the majority of individuals, the blood sugar will actually drop too low. With low blood sugar, you not only could note shakiness, weakness, and maybe some confusion, but it's also possible to have a seizure or go into a coma. You see, the body must maintain its blood sugar in a very narrow range, because low blood sugar causes the release of stress hormones like adrenaline or cortisol. And even though the blood sugar will eventually return to a normal range, you are often left with an uncontrollable hunger. You just have to eat something, and you usually crave another high glycemic meal. In fact, studies have shown that people who eat a high glycemic meal actually eat 80% more calories during the rest of the day when compared to those that eat a low glycemic meal. Much of what we have been calling emotional eating or cravings are really just this vicious cycle. It is important to realize that your muscle actually becomes less sensitive to your insulin even before your fat cells do. Therefore, your muscles, which normally take up 85 to 90% of the calories from your meal, are not able to utilize the calories normally from any meal or snack. It is like someone has switched the tracks on your glucose train from your muscles to the fat cells of your abdomen. There, the glucose is converted into fat, which is another job of insulin. You see, when you become less sensitive to your insulin, a calorie is no longer a calorie. You begin gaining weight and you really don't understand why. So what is the answer to this dilemma? In my practice, I have found that a simple and convenient regimen of low glycemic, balanced foods can reset the body at the cellular level to store less fat. Most people can make this change in about 5 days. They are then primed to reverse this glycemic stress, end their carbohydrate cravings, and become more sensitive to their own insulin again.